Hello, my friends. Welcome to another BGH Connect today. We have some really exciting guests. And as always, if you're here, feel free to write a comment in the chat. We love answering all of the questions here. And it looks like we already have someone jumping in. Linz, I believe it's Linz or Lindsay, welcome. And my two amazing guests I'm going to do one at a time. Are you ready for this? Drum roll. We have Aaron. Hey there,
Hello.
Aaron, welcome.
Hello, nice to be here.
And then we have Benny.
What's up?
I-
How are you, Aaron? Right? Yeah. You know what it is? It's game room, and it's games right here. My buddy Rory Muldoon, right here. That's my guy. Do you guys know Rory? He's the best.
I don't.
I don't actually.
To know Rory is to love Rory. He's one of my very, very favorite people.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really excited to have you both on here. I know it's been a while since there's been a lot of things, mishaps with this, but I got it. I made it happen, and I'm excited. We got a lot of questions to go over, and today we're going to be talking about cool cats. I personally love cats. I don't like dogs at all. I don't know about you guys. I'm assuming you like cats, right?
Yeah. Cats are great. Cats, dogs, birds, fish.
That's literally why I created the game, is because I had a cat named Sam that it's all based off of. We can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll circle back to that. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So as we like to do, Cool Cats is currently live on Kickstarter. I will be throwing up a QR code for the remainder of this. I believe there we go. The exact opposite. If you want to go to the campaign, feel free to scan that. But in the meantime, we're going to do some chatting. So to start us off, who are you guys? Let's go one at a time. Tell us who you are and how you got into board game design, and tell us where you're at right now. So let's start with Benny.
How I got into board game design? I mean, how long of a story do you want? I mean, because
we have an hour to work with.
All right. So back in 2007, our friends that lived kind of across the street from us, we were playing Munchkin a lot at the time, and we played some other different games. And our friend Brian said to me, well, why don't we make our own game? I was like, what are you talking about? Right, of course.
It's so easy, right?
Yeah, he's a kid, right? But then that night, I'm sitting there at work, and I start doodling on a scrap piece of paper, kind of like roll around one of these all the time right now. And I came up with an idea for a game. I brought it home, saw him the next day. I was like, Brian, I have an idea for a game. And he's like, cool, great, let's go. And so we did 4 games. We did Gherkin Games. Inventory was a mess. It was a mess to kind of get things up and going. This was pre-Kickstarter. And then I took a break and published games with other people. I did Yakitori. I did stuff with Button Shy. 2020, pandemic hit. And working with my buddy Derek Dooley, we started Roll and Write Revolution, right? And so that has been going on almost 3 years, 2.5 years now, right? And we have published, this is our 21st Roll and Write print and play game that we've done. 21. And
that's a lot.
It's Aaron's game, which is even more amazing because this is, perfect segue.
Awesome. Well, yeah, Aaron, same question. Let's hear about who you are.
Well, my name is Aaron Kempkes. I'm a board game designer from Syracuse, Nebraska, a town that no one's ever heard of.
I know Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, right. I was like, New York, I know that.
Just as a side note, try looking up the weather for Syracuse. It literally constantly wants to give you New York. And it's like, I don't want to know. But it's south of Omaha, east of Lincoln. But I have been doing game design now for 5 years, actually, almost, which is crazy to think. It kind of started out like, I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to like make something and see what can happen. And that game was a game called Neapolitano's Pizza, and it crashed horribly for me.
Oh, no.
At its core, I think it's okay, but like at the time, it just did not work. And then did a game called Island of Gems. That was kind of my first foray into board game design contests. Actually, the first contest I entered was the Board Game Design Lab Challenge in 2019. And that was Island of Gems getting second. And ever since that point, I got the I got the urge to do more contests. So I literally had like a spreadsheet on my computer of like when the contests were, what the deadlines were, what I could enter. And here we are today. I have, I've been as far as being invited to Paris as a finalist last year. So that was cool. But I started out very small. It was kind of like, I'd like to create something. I want to create something that no one else has done, but I also want to create something that I myself would want to play, because I game a lot with my friends. I game a lot with my sister and my fiance. So I was like, I want to create games that they would enjoy, but also games that could be on a table somewhere in the world and be a part of somebody's game night. Because I don't know about you guys, but like some of my favorite memories are around a table with friends. Like it's the best, honestly.
Yeah, that is like the best part, and that's kind of why I jumped into it as well, is I love just being around the table. I'm that guy, though, on the table that everyone loves, but everyone hates at the same time, because I don't play to win. I don't play optimally. I only play for the socializing, because I'm very extroverted, and so like I'm just like, oh, roll the dice. Oh, I was supposed to do that, but I was over here talking. I'll still pass my turn and do all that etiquette, but I'm just having fun, man.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to include a lot of people, like there shouldn't be any gatekeeping or anything. Like you should just be able to sit down in a convention with a bunch of different people and have a good time. Like, I mean, some of the best times, like we literally at our local convention, which you'll have to go to this sometime, Devin. It's now in a hotel, and it's like big, large scale.
I'm not that far away, so
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Great Plains Game Festival. We were in the basement at 12:30 in the morning of the hotel playing Can't Stop, because you literally can't stop playing Can't Stop.
So fitting.
Yeah.
And the guy, I feel bad. I forget the guy's name at this point, but he literally was calling out how many times he was going to roll dice to get to do the turn, because you bust if you don't roll the number. So he's like, I'm going to do 12 rolls this turn, and we're like, you are insane. And he does 12 rolls, and it's like, what?
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, conventions are so fun. I mean, just in general. And have you been to any like Protospiel conventions, design conventions specifically, or?
Me specifically, no. I honestly wanted to go to Protospiel Madison, but I work 2 jobs, so I'm very busy a lot, and taking off work is like this whole, I have to fit all these pieces into place and everything. So yeah. What about you, Benny? Have you?
Yeah. So
a real quick, Chris just says, "Hey, folks."
Hi, Chris.
Chris Alsop. So.
Somebody said, hello, my loves. Who is that? It doesn't tell me.
Yes, that's Lindsay. It doesn't tell you on this restream, but I can see you.
We like Lindsay. Lindsay's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Hey, you want a quick name drop? So I went to, this is after we moved to Texas. And I don't know, we met some gamers at, we went to DGM, it was Dallas Games Marathon, way back 2010, right? And the one guy's like, oh, hey, there's a Protospiel in Austin. We should go. All right. Why not, right? And so Austin being the home of Steve Jackson Games, right? Mm-hmm. Actually had a chance to sit down, pitch a game I designed to Steve Jackson.
Oh, cool.
I was the most great. I'm sitting there going, what is life right now? I am sitting with the guy that created Munchkin, the game that set me up on this game design path. And then, God, like so many years later, I ended up going to Gen Con. I was working with Albino Dragon, and I was doing stuff with AEG, a lot of Alderac stuff. Ended up signing a game with them that, never happened. It's fine. Same with Albino Dragon. It's fine too. We're still friends, it's good, right? Yeah. So then we ended up scheduling a meeting with James Ernest, right? Give Me the Brain, all those games. And I'm like, how is this possible? I'm meeting my heroes right now. Paul Peterson, right? So I had Paul Peterson on one side of me. I had James Ernest on the other side of me. And I'm pitching a game to these 2 guys about, creating artifacts and all this different stuff. And I'm just thinking, this isn't real. This doesn't happen in real life.
It's like,
Yeah, I'm like, I love Guillotine. Guillotine is like one of the greatest games I've ever played. Smash Up, right? Like,
Smash ups.
just and the thing I will also say, I mean, I've worked for so many publishers over the years, doing my own games and doing everything else. Some of the nicest people I've ever met are in this community. The nicest, most encouraging people. There's also, I mean, every community has some, but in general, the people in board games, they're amazing. So, shout out to
Yeah.
them.
So is that something that, so like, Benny, I know you talked about how your journey throughout, but how did it begin then? Like just in general with board games, did you just get the hobby like Monopoly and stuff like that, or was there a different rate?
No, so it was my parents. Like, so we were poor. We grew up upstate New York, poor, like dirt poor, right? Seriously. And my dad had games when he was a kid. So he was always like, oh, let's play games. My father is one of the most insanely competitive people you will ever meet. Grew up with three brothers. I mean, they constant competition. And so we learned early on how to play slapjack. We played Game of Goose. We had a Bigfoot game that we played a lot. Monopoly with the wrong rules. Yeah, I won't. Sorry. Monopoly.
The real way to play Monopoly, right?
The way everybody plays it, and it's bad. Yeah, so I mean, we played a lot of games, and then, I kind of got out of that, got into video games as a teenager. So I'm 44, right? So like young man. Like I grew up in the age of the NES and all that stuff, and so video games like Super NES and all those things, and then Magic hit, right? 95. Right, 94. It came out in 93.
The year 94. I was born, so I believe 94. Yeah,
you're a child. It's fine. Making me feel older now, down here. So Magic came out, right? And I started playing during Dark Ages, right? Because why not, right? Everybody was raving about it. I was like, all right, fine. So I ordered a deck. So I was ordering comics at the time. And I was like, oh, fine, throw a deck of cards in there. And so started playing competitively, right, with people in the city nearby, as Binghamton, New York, and played competitively. Won a tournament there. Hey, you won a tournament? Have a pack of cards. Like,
you won a Magic tournament?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Right? Yeah. I was a Magic geek for a while, and then kind of got out of it. Had some board games. I had Categories. I love Categories. Still one of my favorites. Got away from it. Came back to it probably with our friends that were playing Munchkin, and they were like, hey, you gotta try this game. I'm like, game? All right. So yeah, it's like one of those things, like I go away from it for a time and then I come back to it, because I think what it is so my mom's an artist, right? She's an artist, graphic designer. She had a brain injury and all that, and she's fine. She's good. It's good. So there's always kind of been this urge to be creative in my family, right? Because of her. And, all of my very favorite memories around different things, a lot of times involve creativity. And so it's like, I go away because I don't feel like I'm keeping up with it. I'm not good enough at it. I'm not capable. And then I come back to it and put all those doubts aside, and you can do this. You can go. And I don't know how many games I've designed. I've had published 28. That's, I can tell you that, and 3 novels. Those are the bottom line. 28 games of mine are in print in one form or another. That's
awesome.
It blows me away. Again, like I have the best life. I really do. I have the best kids. My girls, they'll come up and they'll be like, they're 4. They're like, Dad, we want to design a game. Great, yes. Let's go.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you guys saw from last year probably that they started getting involved. We did 2 games last year with them. We've got another, couple, 3, 4. We just did 3 Pigs. That was one they helped with. Mermaids versus Krakens is next month that they helped design. Got another flower game later in the year.
And I think that's so cool, Benny, that you're designing games with your kids. Like, that's memories that you're creating with them, like that they're going to think of like, oh, made this game with my dad. And that's so cool. I think that's important because, you know, you're using it as like a family bonding thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm using it as dad has no ideas. What kind of game do you want to design today? Like that legitimately, I'll sit them down and go, so what kind of game do you guys want to make? And so like last year when we came up with Mermaids versus Kraken, I was Tavi in the pool going, you need to design a game about mermaids. Okay. And then she just rattled off the entire story for how the game worked. I was like,
well,
okay, well, let's go. I gotta find
The
some art. Yeah, man. Like at some point they're gonna kick me out and they'll be like, all right, Dad, you're retired. I'm like, okay, fine. It'll probably happen next week. It'll be fine. I'll start a new company. We'll write Revolution Part 2. No, I don't know. No, they love it. They're so fun and they're so creative and they love to just come up with stuff. Like at that age, they have no filters, none whatsoever, and they just create things all the time. Make a Three Pigs game, do this, make a unicorn game. I can't make the unicorn game work yet. I'm still trying.
Yeah. So Aaron, so tell us about your journey then. Like how did you get into like board games in general and like describe that process up until where you're at now?
I think it's kind of funny because there was a point, believe it or not, there was a point where I was like, ugh, board games? Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because my sister and I would have this tradition. We'd start to really enjoy the tradition. But at first I was like, oh, you know, let's play a video game or something. We played Scrabble on New Year's Eve. Okay. And then that's when I kind of realized I was pretty good at word games. Like I had a 93 game win streak on Words Are Friends at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I made a lot of enemies. Anyway, so it was kind of that, and then you know, like Words of Friends and like Exploding Kittens. I've heard a lot of people. I know that there's a divide on Exploding Kittens, kind of like there is with Monopoly. But you have to acknowledge that Exploding Kittens really changed things for this industry.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
whether you like
100%.
the game or not, it literally put the industry back on course for all of us to be able to do what we do, because people are like, oh my gosh, actually, I want to play a card game. I want to, you know, and over the last few years, it's just been, you know, great game after great game after great game. You know, you could talk about all the big ones like Azul and King Domino and, you know, ones that just literally got everybody into it. But for me, it started out with Exploding Kittens and Scrabble. When I was young, my sister and I had this game called Mall Madness, where it'd be like,
great game.
yeah, it'd be like, there's a sale in the sunglass store. And so like, you'd have to like go over, but yeah, it was honestly, I credit my sister for bringing me into board games. I think she might slightly regret that at times because I took it like to the extreme. So like she just wanted to play games for a little bit and then she's cool now with it. But like it was like, oh my gosh, we're getting so many games. Like we're swimming in games in the house and but no, it's I credit her with bringing my love of board games out.
So has this always been like a passion of yours to do this? Or like, was there a different career before board games like that you were interested in? Or have you always been like, man, I want to publish games or I want to design games, stuff like that?
So I have always wanted to do something creative. Like at one point, I was like writing songs and stuff, playing shows for like 3 people, which
I've been there.
Yeah, it sucks. And, you know, started to realize like, oh, I like board games. Well, you know, it kind of came full circle in a cool way because I started to, you know, make games and stuff like that pizza game and everything. And then realized, oh, this is really fun. I like this. I can create something. I have like control over what like goes on the table and the table presence and everything. But my sister told me there was a game that I created when I was younger because I was just tinkering around called Oops, You're Dead. And literally every spot on the board is Oops, You're Dead. I thought it was so funny when I was younger, but yeah. So apparently I had a little bit of it back there, but I didn't really realize it until a few years ago. And now it's just like, it is a dream of mine to like have a game out there in a shop and like
Mhm.
be able to go to a convention and teach people my game. You know, every game designer has this dream, but I'm gonna add to it. Like being nominated for the Spiel would be like a full circle, like
That's like
amazing
a
moment.
big,
For me. I'd probably cry like a baby if that happened. So yeah.
yeah. Benny, what about you? Same question.
For being nominated for Spiel? No, absolutely not.
I'm
I'm
sure
not
you
that
have
good.
been nominated many
Oh,
times, but
oh
no, has this always been a dream of yours to publish games, make games?
no, absolutely not. No, 100%. I love it. I love it from a passion perspective. I love designing games. I love publishing games because I get to meet people like Aaron, and I am the first one to say, I'm going to put your game on somebody's table and actually make it happen. Right? Aaron's had games signed. He understands. Having a game signed doesn't mean anything. Um, I'll say that. No, so I mean, I'm an LPC. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've worked
Okay.
in the field of mental health for 20 years, 21 years now, 21 years. I'm getting old. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. I love what I do. I love working with people. I love human beings. I love their stories. No, designing games just kind of came as like a happy accident. And when we started, I had those aspirations like Aaron does. I had the aspirations to make a game. We did. We made 4 and get them into shops, and we did that. And get them on people's tables, and we did that. I mean, I got as far as, so I'm not very good at winning competitions. I'm not Aaron, right? Aaron's really good at that. I was a finalist for a button shy contest with a game that I've redesigned. It's coming out later this year. But I was up against Circle the Wagons, and I came in second to Circle the Wagons. Understandably, right? Because that game then turned into Sprawlopolis, and it's made Tagmire so much money, right? Like,
I'm just going to interject there for a second,
Sure.
Benny, and let you know that I know that feeling to be second to a game that ended up going out to be very popular. Island of Gems got second to, are
Yeah.
you ready? The Night Cage.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I literally was competing against the Night Cage. Keep going,
I
Benny.
mean,
I just want to let you
you
know, I
know,
know how that feels, man.
yeah.
It sucks.
Oh, 100%. But it didn't suck for me. I didn't care. I was like, cool, no problem. Like, you know, we tinkered with the design. Ben Bingle and I and Jason, we tinkered with it, and we finally got to the point where it was like, it needed to be more than 18 cards. Basically, is what we figured out in the end. I've rehabbed it now. It's 18 cards with 2 players, I think, and up to, I think it plays 44 cards with 4 players. So it plays 4 players now. Rethemed. It's no longer Night Shift. Now it is Train Track. It'll be out in September on the Kickstarters. Yeah, I mean, so I never, when I walked away from board games in 2000 or 2010, we moved here. So that was when I kind of quit, and then pitched to a whole bunch of publishers, had a whole bunch of games signed under contract, and never came out with anything. Mm-hmm. We did Yakitori, Chris Jurenko, Daft Concepts, my buddy. We did a skewerable tile game, right? You guys can never find a copy of Yakitori. You literally have wood tiles, you have wood skewers, and you can skewer them. And it's thematically, it's the most amazing thing. I love it.
That's cool.
And we've talked about redoing it, you know, card game, whatever else. Maybe one day. Yeah, I think I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about helping young designers. That's why we have submissions open kind of chronically, is I like seeing what other people are coming up with. And like when I talk about submissions, I'd rather them send me, you know, a scribbled up rough copy of something, and then we can shape it into something else. This is something that Aaron and I have talked about is our passion for wanting to help, right? And to move out of, we're just publishers. No, let's be the change in the community that needs to occur. Let's get away from, Aaron, you mentioned gatekeeping. Let's get away from that gatekeeping aspect of only guys that look like this, right? Old, straight, white guys who have kids can design board games. No, anybody can design board games, right? And so I'm more passionate about helping people develop an idea, right? And so I started a very stupid YouTube show That's stupid. It's fun. I have fun with it now. I've released the first 2 episodes. First episode was kind of just encouraging people to try designing a game. I showed that I couldn't do math. That was good. I do math problems in my head for fun, and I get 90% of the answers wrong, so it's good.
I did a pitch video once, and I'm like panning down the score pad, and I realized after I sent it to 4 publishers, the scores were wrong, and I'm like,
I did that too with one of my games, and I was like, no, shoot.
But see, as a publisher, I've worked with those guys. I am a publisher now, but I've worked with those guys. They don't care. All they care about is your game something that's either different enough or special enough to hit the market and really make a big splash, right? And that's what I believed with Aaron's game. We'll talk about that in a minute, of course, but I got sidetracked here with the YouTube thing. So I've started this YouTube channel, and I love Bob Ross, right? I love his show. Always have since I was itty bitty. I always loved Bob Ross's show. Never painted along. I'm not a good painter. I can paint, not well. And I thought,
happy little trees, Benny. Happy little trees.
Dude, yeah, that's the video, man. So I came up with this rough idea. I'm going to tell people how to design a worker placement game. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to start with 0 ideas, and this is the basic concept. And here I am with my. You guys don't see the videos. It's ridiculous, but it's a blank piece of paper and a pen, and it's me going, I don't know if this is anything, but let's start with an idea. How about ski patrol? I don't know. And then I drew them out on the page, and hey, let's throw in some happy little trees because Bob Ross. And yeah, so then I filmed the part 2 of that now. I'll put it up next Wednesday. I've actually completed the game. It is a game. There is legitimately a game there, and people can watch along and design along with me and see that in roughly an hour of video time, we created a board game.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the basis, honestly, behind like a game jam or something. They have a bunch of people sit there and like they have a prompt or like a type of game or something, and then it's just like, oh, let's create something. Mine's random. It's not like that. I can't literally just like sit down and be like, I'm going to create this. Mm-hmm. But like, I'll literally be at the grocery store and I'll be like, oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. And by the time I get home, I'm like, looking at something cool. But it's like, it's really interesting how it happens. It's almost like little bits of inspiration that just, come out of nowhere. But it always happens at the worst time. Do you feel this, Devin and Benny? Like, it's always the worst time. It can't be like when you're on the couch watching television and you're not busy doing anything. It's always like at work and like there's 2 people calling me on the phone. I'm not near a pen and paper or anything. It's just like, it's cool. It's cool how like the mind works in that way. Cause like, actually, I'm going to say this like for the first time publicly, because I don't think anybody realized this, but Gumball World, which won the Ion Award, I actually came up with that idea 3 months before the Ion Award submission. So it was like, and here I am submitting it. Like, I submitted it last minute. I was like, this is not going to do anything at all. Like, I'm just going to see what happens. And then I submit it and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm good.
And the one I thought was going to be in there wasn't. Like, that's just literally how it goes.
That's a really good segue too, because I really want to get into like knowing more about your process of creating and entering contests specifically, and then like Board Game Design Lab. Like, I know you were, what was it, a finalist, right? With Cool Cat?
Finalist 2 years in a row, actually.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Well, describe that process then, like from start to finish, because I'm not a contest guy myself, but like I know like that's something that a lot of designers really like to do to test themselves. So explain that a little bit.
So contests for me were initially, it's kind of evolved in a way, because contests for me initially were like, I've created games. I live in the middle of the United States. I'm not near anybody major. I'm just going to throw in a contest and see if it, gets attention. And now it's kind of evolved to like, okay, I know this contest is coming up. So what type of games normally do well in this contest? And can I submit something that catches attention enough? And that's kind of like I entered the Ion Award for 3 years and got rejected the first 2 years. And it was just
Persistent.
honestly, that was devastating for me because like I thought I'm onto something, I'm on the right track. And then finally this last year, I approached it in a different way. I was like, okay, I'm gonna look at like previous ones and see what type of games they might like, and then go from there. And so I don't really create games for contests unless it's like a game crafter contest. There have been a couple game crafter contests that I'm like, okay, I have to create this type of game in 3 months. Can I do it? And then it's actually turned out to be something really, really cool. So I think that there's 2 ways to go about it, actually. There's the doing a prompt to see if you can do the game. And then there's looking at the contest, looking at the history, looking at what type of games normally do well in that contest, and looking at what you've created overall and see if it applies. And I have had countless help and advice from people in this industry. There are so many great people in this industry that like, I mean, I did the Tabletop Submarine podcast and I was kicking myself afterwards because there was like so many other people I wanted to mention that because some of these people do it in like such a subtle way, like they don't expect anything in return. And, you know, you don't know how to repay them, honestly, because it's like, you know, I don't necessarily ask for the advice from the larger community on the design scope, because I have a local playtest group that we hash out a lot of things. I tend to ask more like board game focused questions or like interact with people, industry focused questions. And I found that literally like, you know, for the Ion Award, I had like 2 people offering me advice, like on, oh, you know, do your presentations this way. It might be a lot easier. Treat it like a pitch. Treat it like you're just having a conversation with a friend. And that helped out greatly. So helpful, because here I was sitting here thinking, oh my God, I got to be like stuffy with like a tie and a, you know, and it's just like Benny said, it's not like that. But I still find myself getting starstruck in a way. Like I've talked to you, Devin, you know, through Messenger, and we've had lots of correspondence. I'm like, oh my God, I'm talking to Devin. Like, this is cool. You know, like,
put in perspective too. Like, I'm a little guy. So like when you're talking to like, you know, Benny was talking earlier, that's a big deal. Like, we all get that way.
But see, though, that's kind of the beautiful thing about our industry. Our industry is tiny. It is teeny, tiny. And that's something that I hope folks remember. Like, there are a ton of designers out there. There's a bunch. There are not many publishers. All right. So you have to figure, too, when you pitch games, unless you're pitching to me, and then, you know, it's a different story. You're pitching, and you're one of 1,000 they're pitching for one spot. Like, it's insane, you know. And I think, and you know what, you're absolutely right, Aaron, and Devin, you're going to echo this because I know you. If you surround yourself with the best people, your results will be so much better. You know, you find all these really, really good connections, and most of my people I've connected with, I've never met in real life, right? Like, I would love to. I want to jump on a plane and go to England and hang out with Jamie Hargreaves and Nikita from Attican Games, and, you know, Mark Riviera, like all these great people who I know, and Chris Baki, if he, you know, when he comes back from, he's vacationing. When he comes back, like, I want to go hang out with them in real life.
Lucky. I want to trade places with him right now. Like,
who? Me?
Chris, he's vacationing. Anybody who's vacationing right now, like, just like trade places with you.
Oh no, he's working. Yeah, he's been pitching me games while he's on his vacation. I swear that he's like the 3 of us. He has way more ideas than he has time, and I think that's kind of, there are designers who are like that, right? I'm like that. You guys are like that. I know, Devin, how many projects are you currently actively working on? You've got the tap room, you've got this, you've got how many? You've got 2 games signed.
Yeah.
You're working on how many other games? What else are you doing?
Just two games.
Just 2.
Right now. Yeah. yeah, just working on the 2 games. I'm working on tabletop. I'm doing board game hype stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm still on the side. I'm doing developing now, and I'll announce this soon. But I'll be stepping down as a community manager and jumping into a little bit of part-time contract development for
Nice.
Open Owl instead. And then I'm going to go back to doing some marketing stuff. So I'll be looking for more stuff like that. So yeah, quite a bit, but it's all worth it. That's what I do. That's my favorite thing to do. So, but yeah, no, this is a really good segue over to community, right? Because that's my favorite thing, and that is something I really like to highlight. So, where I got to go a little bit faster if I want to get to the campaign. So let's talk about the
Stalling out on all
community,
our stuff.
the community in general, and what has been like the main source of inspiration that you found, like with this game from the community? Like, have you brought people in to help, like you had talked about? This is the time to like highlight those people. Don't knock yourself if you forget someone, because we all forget someone. Just know that if you've helped Aaron, that you mean everything. And then just who has helped you along the way, and just describe the community interaction with you.
For me, it's a situation where like, and both Devin and Benny know this, and it's kind of funny that I didn't know Benny was a counselor, because there have been times where I've literally been messaging him on Facebook, like having a crisis just about things board game related, and he's like, helping me out and stuff. So I mean, obviously, since you're on the call with me, Benny, I mean, Benny's been great helping out with this stuff. I mean, Cool Cats wouldn't be what it is right now if it wasn't for Benny making the suggestions he did. And we're going to have like a designer diary thing that we're going to put on that kind of explains that. But overall, like my sister Amber, I mean, she play tests my games, even if they suck. She stayed up with me, when she's super tired, to make sure that, like, before the Ion Award, she made sure that the games on Tabletopia were functioning properly, and she found something that literally would have killed Gumball World. So I mean, I can't thank her enough. My fiance Sarah is just, she's wonderful. Like she's been so supportive and helpful, just like an amazing partner, amazing part of my life, believes in me. My sister and my fiance are both like my pedestal that keeps me upright. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be here doing anything. And then, some people that I didn't get a chance to mention before, because I mentioned some other people before, like Carlos Flores. He's got a game called Clima. You all need to check out this game. This game is amazing. And seriously, he helped me with the Ion Award and everything, helped me give advice about presentation and stuff. Ammon Anderson, I think he's probably in this chat. He's got a game called Gnome Hollow. He's a fellow Ion Award finalist. Yeah. And I think he's going to go places with Gnome Hollow. It's brilliant. And just countless other people. I'm blanking right now, trying to think of everyone, but it's like Eric Sundian, I think, if I pronounce that right. I have a Swedish fiance, so if I pronounce something wrong in Swedish, I'm going to hear about it later. But, he's been awesome. He's out of Uppsala, north of Stockholm. Mass Flu, I think, is his name. He did Shake That City. Eric Sundian did Hungry Monkey and Whirling Witchcraft. They've been great. My local play testers, Eric, Julia, Dom, Cody Hansen, Matthew Greenleaf, Sam Stockton, who did Cult of the Deep and Forges of Ravenshire. I mean, there is a scene here in Nebraska that a lot of people don't realize is potentially going to be something big. I mean, you got BA games with Forges of Ravenshire, Cult of the Deep. You probably know Mintworks. I mean, Justin Blasky. It's just crazy. Like when I got brought into this, it was kind of happenstance. I went to karaoke and I ended up meeting like one of the game groups that I am part of now, because somebody there was like, "Hey, do you like board games?" And then found out that like
karaoke,
Justin
Blasky. Now you're in the board game.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't want to waste all the time with naming out names, but like even like friends, Marissa is one of my friends that has tested stuff and helped me out and everything. I can't thank everybody enough, and I will forget everyone at some point. But I just want you to know that if you have talked to me helped me out, advised me in any way. You are awesome and wonderful, and I couldn't do this without you. So,
and the crowd goes wild. Everyone applauds. It's like, this is an award show right here. That was great. But no, like you said, I mean, there's so many people. Like, if I named the amount of people that helped me to get where I'm at, it'd be a long list. So it's hard to thank everyone, but that's just great. That's why I love this community, and that's why I'm excited to talk. Let's talk about the campaign a little bit. Let's go into that right now. Briefly, Benny, I'm gonna throw it over to you, and can you just describe like the Roll and Write Revolution and the business in general that's publishing it, and tell us a little bit more about that before we go to the game.
So this is where I get to be like Aaron, and I'm just going to say thank you to the backers. Oh my gosh. We have, I hands down, I will compare all of our backers against anyone else's backers. Any other game project, our backers are the best. They're number one. Seriously, the best people in the world. We may not get tons of comments, we may not get tons of backers, but the ones that come back every single time, they're amazing.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I have the best folks on my team. They really, they're so kind, and I'm not good at this. I'm not good at game design. I'm not. I'm prolific. God, Jamie Hargreaves.
Oh,
I think we lost Benny.
we lost.
Oh no, there's Benny. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah,
I was prepared.
I was gonna say, if you got, I'm not good at game. I'm not good at game design. I'm not. I'm really not. Jamie Hargreaves, that designed Pride and Prejudice that we put out this back in February. Phenomenal game. Oh, it's an amazing game. It's like I played it a long time ago, and he was first kind of like, I don't know what to do with this, and I was like, dude, you've got to let me publish your game. The game's amazing. No. And then finally he came around. He's like, all right, fine, you can publish it. He's like, it sucks. I'm like, no, dude, no, you don't understand. Aaron is the exact same way. He pitched me Cool Cats, and I was like, all right, this has a lot of, D10s are a tough sell for print and play folks. They just are. I'm sorry. And so I pitched cards. I said, what about cards, right? And we shifted the game into arguably one of the more strategic roll and writes that I've ever played, or flip and writes, or whatever you guys flip and fill. I think we can call it the first draft and write. I would also say arguably we are the first, it is the first cooperative roll and write style game on the market. So revolutionizing things. I mean, Roll and Write Revolution is, it started as a joke. I wanted to, when I started a new game company, I always said, I'm going to call it Revolutionary Game Studios. And it's going to be about things that turn. It's going to be about wheels. It's going to be about circles. It's going to be revolution, right? Just to be pedantic. But then I had a lot of good people. Odin Pong, who's just a great influence on me, and he did the big book of Roll and Writes. You guys can probably still get copies of it. Great games in there. Great guy. He pitched me actually. He said, well, why don't you make a roll and write with dominoes? What? Are you on drugs? No, I mean, a roll and write with dominoes. And so we did. The very first game we did was Standing Stones back in December of 2020. And we did really well with it. People related to that game, and they were like, what? This is amazing. You made a domino game. I have to go buy a thing of dominoes from Walmart or wherever. But yeah, I mean, and then our buddy Fia, she's an artist. She started doing acrylic domino sets, and so we linked her on the campaign. She does all kinds of great art. She's so cool. Yeah, I mean, you find amazing people when you do this stuff. And so from our angle, from why I do it is no inventory. I wanted no inventory. I had a lot of games. I wanted to publish a lot of games. I wanted no inventory. I wanted to be able to get backers games when they're excited about them, right? So like Cool Cats is going to end in what, 6 days, 5 days,
5 days,
less than a week. So in less than a week it'll end. Kickstarter will send out the backer report to me, and I will send out the Dropbox link to our backers. within a couple days of getting that back report, because I want them to have the game when they're excited. And Devin, you and I talked about this before we did this, before we kicked off. I like Kickstarter. I like the Kickstarter model. I have a hard time still being excited about a board game a year out when I back it. That's not true of all games. You know, the Motor City GameWorks, Matt and Ben and Adam, I still love their games. I playtest games for them, and I back games from them. And when they come in, I'm still stoked, right? I'm still like, yes. Anakin Games, Nikita, my buddy, right? My secret best. Nikita, we're best friends if you're watching the stream, just so you know. She's so cool. You know, she's somebody that, like, I back her games. I'll help her playtest and everything. She's got a game coming up in October. It looks amazing. And her games, I'm always excited when they come in because they're so different. They're not like anything else in the market, right? And so that's really what I always pushed for with Roll-Right Revolution was to, I don't want to sell the most games. I don't want to be nominated for awards. I want to change what people think about board games. I want to change that dynamic. I want people to get off the dynamic of, oh, I want to play Monopoly. Or I want to play Scrabble. I mean, they're fine. Play them. Cool. Great. Design them. Design another one just like it. Great. But I want people to see that we have an industry that values innovation, right?
Yeah.
And so Aaron's game, right? I joke with Aaron that his game is probably 5 years out from being that style game, being the biggest thing on the planet, you know? And if he strips the theme off and submits it to some German publishers as an abstract, it's going to be huge. That's your spiel winner right there, buddy. I'm just telling you. No joke. Like, and we've got Roman Wright coming up next year. That's going to be so good. That game's already so good. You're so clever. I love the cleverness in your designs, and I appreciate that you go above and beyond what's asked of you. Your eye for detail. That is.
I want to touch on that, Benny, because real quick,
you want to touch on you driving me nuts with your eye for details? Actually, you want to touch on.
So this is funny because I'm sitting there and like I'll be working and Benny will send me like an update on the sheet for Cool Cats or something, because there's like a sheet in Cool Cats that you mark off when you get certain card sets and everything. And I'm like, Benny, we need to move this line down just a little bit. And he's like, well, okay. So he moves it and I'm like, Benny, we need to shift this number over just a little bit. And I think I made you do like 120 edits. I am so sorry, Benny. I'm so sorry. But literally he'd send it to me. And the joke after a while would be like, are you sure you're sure?
Is this the final? No, like, dude, yeah. Like, I'll be honest. I have files for Cool Cats, the game sheet, where I started just throwing letters on there. Did I send you the ones with the letters?
Yeah.
I got up to K. I was just like, this is nuts. But you know what? It works, though, because your eye for detail is incredibly amazing, because you're going to be that huge influence on somebody up and coming. Somebody's gonna drop a game in front of you. You're gonna see exactly the little piece that somebody missed, and you're gonna blow their mind.
Blow their minds.
Oh my gosh, Benny, you were making me feel so happy, and then okay, there you go, you're back.
No, seriously, you're gonna blow somebody's mind with your eye for detail. You really are.
Yeah, well, I have to say, Benny, like, you know, your ability to develop is really great, and I want to tell anybody perspective that wants to submit to Roll-Right Revolution, do it, because I literally thought Cool Cats, even though Cool Cats was a finalist for Board Game Design Lab, I thought Cool Cats was done. I honestly thought that there was no chance that it would ever see the light of day. I put it in front of Benny, and Benny's like, get rid of the dice. And I'm like, say what now? You're rolling on drugs, but you want to get rid of the dice. And then we came up with this idea, you know, of making it so that it's just 3 of each number and three jokers, so 3 wilds, so a 30 card deck, cycling through the 30 card deck to get the numbers you need. And then Benny one day is like, hey, you know, this would be great to have a solo mode. And I was like, huh, okay. So then we come up with the feline fiends where you're literally facing like a feline fiend that's sitting at the table. Like, who doesn't want to face Captain and Meowka? I mean, come on. So
Yes.
it's just, yeah, Benny. I mean, I really appreciate like what you've done for me just in the time that we've known each other. And I want people. Actually, he's like, go on the live stream with Devin and have a good time. And I'm like, you're coming with me, man. Like,
Yeah, I do.
That's-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Betty.
Well, I was going to say that's because I want people to see your greatness. I want this to be a launch pad for you. I want you to have that career that you dream of. You know, and I really want to help those other designers. And you're like me, Aaron. You're like, I want to judge contests. I'm like, dude, I've been there. Let's do this. I'll get you hooked up. Shoot, maybe we can run our own contest. Devin, you want to help us run a contest?
Sure, let's do it.
I would love to judge contests. Yes. Judging contests would be super fun because it's a way. I've been in a bunch of contests now that like it's a way for me to like give back in a way, like help somebody else, like bring their game up. Like one thing that Ammon Anderson told me, and I think it's just an epitome. Is that the right word? Or like it shows exactly what a good portion of this industry is like. He's like, I'm doing really well right now. So I want to help other people. Like, what industries do you see somebody being like, I'm here on top of this mountain. Let me pull you up. Like, there's so many people like that in this industry, and it's cool. It's frankly cool, and I hope it stays that way. Like, I'm kind of sort of a pessimist a little bit at times, and so I'm like, oh man, in 5 years, hopefully those people don't move on but I really do think that the overall community is just absolutely amazing for that. You need help, ask someone. Like I don't like asking for help, but I'm starting to realize, fine, I'll ask for help. So
it's a good thing to ask for help because it's hard to do things by yourself. And I mean, coming from a guy who does almost everything by himself, and I don't like it. You know, I want to work with people, and that's why I'm doing, you know, things like this and doing table tap, because it's just like I want to surround myself with other people to, just like you said, lift them up while we're also lifting each other up together. So we have to dive into the game, otherwise we are going to not be able to talk about it.
Yes.
So let's jump right into the campaign here. Let's talk about Cool Cats. The first question I want to talk about is just like, can you describe like the target audience for Cool Cats? Like, who would want to get this game, and what sets it apart from the other roll rides?
Well, I'll say a little bit, and I know Benny wants to say some things too, so I'll defer to Benny here. Cool Cats is it was initially a roll and write game with D10s, so it was 10-sided dice, and the whole point of the game was like you are entitled lazy felines that are trying to have the best Catterday, and so you're getting these numbers, you're marking them off on the sheet, and there's things like, you know, belly rubs and sleep and food, and there's even litter boxes you can fill. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to fill a litter box, play my game. I mean, that's a great pitch, right? But now
yes, I really want to know what it's like to fill a litter box.
Well, here's the funny thing, like there, you know, having cats myself at one point, the funny thing is like all these things are kind of thematic, you know, like the belly rubs, like you can never mark off the same number twice. Like once you've marked off a number, you're done. It's kind of like a cat. Once you give them enough belly rubs, then they're like, I'm done with you. The litter box, you got to fill the litter box properly. So you have to mark off both numbers. Otherwise you don't get credit for filling the litter box. Like, I tried to fit those things in there just as like a little nod to cat owners, because we all get that. Like the 5th round is themed after like, oh my God, it's 4 a.m. I got to wake my owner up. So it's shorter than the others. Like there's urgency. But yeah, it's honestly a game that for me, it was just kind of like an exercise on, initially when I made it, it was an exercise on like, how best can like I maneuver numbers in a way that's like fun and interesting onto a player sheet. And then with the cards, oh my God, Benny, the cards changed everything. Like I was doing a couple demos, you know, and people are playing. They're like, oh, so there's gonna be like there's gonna be a 4 coming up potentially because the 2 4s are in there, and I have like a 1 in 6 chance of getting a 4. And like that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted that like strategic thought process. So that's the basic gist of the game. It's like you want to fill a litter box and you want to mark numbers off on a sheet. I got your game for you.
Yeah, so Benny, you had wanted to mention why it sets it apart from other games. So let's just talk about that.
So, I mean, the card drafting sets it apart, just the way it goes. I mean, and then, so the Feline Fiends are a direct result of us going the cards and me saying to Aaron, dude, you've got 6 blank cards on this last sheet with the Jokers. What about a solo mode? You know, I've got Deborah Gard. She is one of my very best people in the whole world that support me. She's backed every single game I've made on Kickstarter, starting with Standing Stones. And she always will say, is there a solo mode? And I'll go, you bet there is. I will always make a solo mode. Her and Sergi Sanchez, always, 100%. It sets itself apart because it's fun. It's a game that's fun. It's fun and it's silly and you laugh and you look at the card art, right? If you can, you know, I went out of my way to be as ridiculous and over the top as I could with the card art, just to be super. I wanted people to see it and just like, okay, what is this game? What are these guys doing? You know, let's just get ridiculous, right? And so it's a game for people that like strategy. It's a game for people that like to laugh. It's a game for people that like cats. It's a game for people that enjoy a challenge. The Feline Fiends are really, really tight to battle against. Aaron even set up like a multiplayer. I think it plays up to 3, where you can play a multiplayer against the Feline Fiends, which is even bigger challenge.
You set them at the table with you, and then you have to beat a certain threshold.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely for people that like a challenge. It's for people that like, just in general, like games. You know, if you like games, you'll like this. It's really got a lot of clever elements, which is really what drew me to it. And then the strategy. You know, we created a really strategic game from that. Yeah, I mean, I hope more folks embrace this model, right? We've seen that, right? You mentioned this, Devin. There is an explosion of print and play, especially roll and writes on Kickstarter, which is great. I love that. I love that for the industry because it's the folks in the industry pushing back and saying, I want a game sooner. I want a cool game and I want it in my inbox as quick as I can get it because I want it on my table. I don't want to wait a year, which is fine. It's fine for the box games. It's fine. I have a lot of box games behind me. It is what it is, right? But I want the industry to recognize that this style is not going to go away. It's not a dead end. Roll and writes are not a dead end. You know, I mean, I heard people when we first started say roll and writes are dead. Roll and writes, they aren't going to last. I'm 2.5 years into doing this. I've published 21 roll and writes. They're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Print and play is not going anywhere. I think what it was is seeing that dynamic change and seeing that if you put a value on something, right? Print and play games typically go out free. Everybody's like, oh, here, it's free. Put a value on it. You're worth something. Your art's worth something. Aaron is worth something. I want to pay that dude, right? Seriously.
Appreciate that.
No, but it's like, and so when you shift that dynamic and you say, well, maybe it's worth $4. Cool, great. And people back it for $4 and they get a game right away and they can print it and they can have so much fun with it. I was talking to Todd, right? He's a Button Shy fan and we're actually designing a game together. Triassic be coming out pretty soon. He was laughing. His daughter Ashlyn is helping us design it, and her and his niece were there. And he ended up doing something else. And he came out, and they already had the game set up, playing it themselves. No initiation from him. He's like, man. He's like, I remember, the NES on Christmas morning being the thing. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I'm like, this generation is like video games. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Right, that new Legend of Zelda looks fun. But
board games are huge now. Like
the board games, man, it's where it's at. And I think being able to deliver fun and creative products every single time, challenging what a roll and write is. We're past Quicks, we're past Knock Mall, we're past the old school ones. Now we're moving into branching out, and we're seeing folks. I had somebody pitch me a game about cutting gyms out of paper, right? And that's going to be really cool because I've got a lot of ideas to pitch back to him, and we've started working on something with it. I might not publish it. He might take it to somebody else and they'll publish it. Great. I've got a rock, paper, scissors game coming up for next year. I mean, rock, paper, scissors and write. It's a thing, I want folks to get creative, have fun. It's a short life. Have fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna stop it here soon. I'm just gonna throw this up on the screen. If anyone's interested in Cool Cats, before we head out, there's a QR code right below me. Go ahead and scan that. They are fully funded. 5 days left to go. And yeah, we're gonna have Aaron give us some closing thoughts on Cool Cats in general, and maybe just a little bit of advice to some other indie designers or designers trying to go on Kickstarter. Take it away, Aaron.
Well, first and foremost, this has nothing to do with that, but I just want to say when we do Gen Con, I want a red pair of those glasses.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna rock out. We're gonna take a selfie together.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere, I don't know, playing a game or something. We're gonna take a selfie together. That is going on Twitter, whether you like it or not. So do the glow up that you need to do there, Devin.
I'm ready.
We're gonna do the selfie. Anyway, joking aside, I think one of the biggest things to note, and this is something that I'm still trying to acknowledge, is that everything is a baby step to something better, even if it's not good. So, I've had a lot of situations where I've just been like, I'm done. I feel like I'm done. This is too much for me. And I've had really nice, amazing people in my support system bring me back up, and then something really awesome has happened. So my main advice for designers right now, regardless of whether you're an indie designer, whether you've published 30 games, whether you're Reiner Knizia and you are literally going for your 27,000th game, it's a process. And that's something that we will never get accustomed to. That we will die before we get accustomed to the down part of being a creative. And so that's one of the major things that I want to say is, like, you touched on it before, Benny. Mental health is very important. And I've had some moments this year where I've realized that I need to tend to that more myself. So, and I think that everybody should know that, like, there are people out there that, like, want to help you, want to make sure that you're doing the best thing you can, being the best you can. And so that's very important. And Cool Cats, I mean, we've talked a lot about Cool Cats. I felt like that was more important than touching on Cool Cats a little bit more. But if you would back Cool Cats on Kickstarter and make me super happy, make Benny super happy, and you are going to get an awesome game. I'm pretty sure that you're going to have an awesome time trying to face the feline fiends. Sam, which the game is based off of, a cat that I had a long time ago. He was my buddy. He died of FIV. And so, I miss him every day. And so he is the boss in the game, and he is tough. And he would love that very much, that he was the hardest character to beat. And take it away, Benny. Take us out.
No, what else am I going to say? We have the best folks in the world supporting us, including Devin. We'll include you, Devin. You're the best.
Hide now.
Right? No. Seriously.
Devin's hiding behind the QR code. I want to do that.
There you go. No, I hope folks do check out Cool Cats. And we've got a lot of games coming this year. We've got a lot of games coming next year. Another game from Aaron coming out next year. We're going to do Roman Right. Geez. Thank you. Thank you, backers. Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for supporting us. Even if you've supported one ever, like, that's amazing. Thank you. You make it so I can put money in my girls' college fund. I don't do this for the money. I don't, man. Like, this is for my girls. This is for college for them. And when they're older, And when they're ready to take over, they'll retire me. Aaron and I'll start a new company, right? AB Games, Aaron and Benny, making games still, right?
Yep.
We'll never get over it. We'll never get over the rush of publishing a game, right? That's one of the things that I think is really important with mental health. And you mentioned the down, but also the up, right? Like if you talk to guys like Johnny and who are, guys who have been in this industry, Eric Lang, been in this industry forever, they still get a rush when they publish a game. Like, oh man, I signed a game. Yes. Right. Or, oh man, my game's coming out and it's so cool. And like, it's that feeling when the game first works.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's an awesome feeling.
You chase it every time. Yeah. And then you chase publishers and you chase getting signed. And you chase the release when something comes out and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I did it. And then you start over again. Mm-hmm. Let's make another game.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for being on here. Until next time, we're going to close this one out, but have some fun playing games and go check out Cool Cats on Kickstarter. We'll see you guys next time.
See you later.